Defense calls Colonel Nathan Jessup. Colonel Jessup!
Colonel Jessup, have you been previously sworn?
I have not.
Would you raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible? You swear that the testimony you're about to give in this general court-martial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you state for the record your full name, rank, and current billet, please?
Colonel Nathan Robert Jessup, Commanding Officer, Marine Ground Forces, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Thank you. Would you have a seat, sir?
Colonel, when you learned of Santiago's letter to the NIS, you had a meeting with your two senior officers, is that right?
Yes.
The platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, and the company commander, Captain Matthew Markinson.
Yes.
And at present, Captain Markinson is dead, is that right?
I'd like to know just what defense counsel is implying.
I'm implying simply that, at present, Captain Markinson is not alive.
Surely Colonel Jessup doesn't need to appear in this courtroom to confirm that information?
I just wasn't sure if the witness was aware that 2 days ago, Captain Markinson took his own life with a silver-plated pistol.
The witness is aware, the court is aware, and now the jury is aware. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Now move on, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Colonel, at the time of this meeting, you gave Lieutenant Kendrick an order, is that right?
I told Kendrick to tell his men that Santiago was not to be touched.
And did you give Captain Markinson an order as well?
I ordered Markinson to have him transferred off the base immediately.
Why?
I felt he might be in danger once word of the letter got out.
Grave danger?
Is there any other kind?
We have the transfer order that you and Markinson co-signed, stating that Santiago will be lifted on a flight leaving at 6 the next morning. Was this the first flight off the base?
The 0600 was the first flight off the base.
Colonel, you flew into Washington early this morning, is that right?
Yes.
I noticed you're wearing your Class A dress uniform for your appearance in court today.
As are you, Lieutenant.
Did you wear that uniform on the plane?
Your Honor, is this dialogue relevant to anything in particular?
Your Honor, the defense did not have time to depose the witness. We'd asked the court for a little latitude.
A very little latitude.
Colonel,
I wore fatigues on the plane.
and you brought your uniform with you.
Yes.
Toothbrush, shaving kit, change of underwear?
Your Honor!
Get
It's a
somewhere
criminal
fast with this, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Colonel,
I brought a change of clothes and some personal items.
thank you. At the time of Dawson and Downing's arrest, Santiago's barracks room was sealed and its contents inventory. 4 camouflage pants, 4 long-sleeve khaki shirts, 4 short-sleeve khaki shirts, 4 pairs of boots, 4 pairs of black socks, 4 pairs of green.
Is there a question anywhere in our future?
Lieutenant Caffey, I have to
I'm wondering
insist-
why Santiago wasn't packed. We have the transfer order and the telephone record of all the calls made from your base in the past 24 hours. After being subpoenaed to Washington, you made a total of 3 calls. I've highlighted those calls in yellow. Do you recognize those numbers?
I called Colonel Fitzhughes in Quantico, Virginia to let him know I'd be in town. The second call is to Congressman Richmond of the House Armed Services Committee. And the third call is to my sister, Elizabeth.
Why did you make that call, sir?
I thought you might like to have dinner.
Your Honor!
I'm going to put a stop to
Your Honor,
this now.
these are the telephone records from Gitmo, the night of July 6th. And these are 14 letters Santiago wrote in 9 months requesting, in fact, begging for a transfer off the base. Upon hearing the news that he was finally getting a transfer, Santiago was so excited that do you know how many people he called? 0. Nobody. Not one call to his parents saying he was finally coming home. Not one call to a friend saying, hey, can you pick me up at the airport? he was asleep in his bed at midnight, and according to you, he was getting on a plane in 6 hours, and yet everything he owned was folded neatly in his footlocker and hanging neatly in his closet. You were leaving for 1 day. You packed a bag and made 3 phone calls. Santiago was leaving for the rest of his life. And he hadn't packed a thing. And he hadn't called a soul. Can you explain that? The fact that Santiago wasn't going anywhere, isn't that
Your
right?
Honor, it's clear that Lieutenant Cappy's intention this morning is to smear a high-ranking Marine officer in the desperate hope that the mere appearance of impropriety will win him points with the jury. It's my recommendation, sir, that Lieutenant Cappy be reprimanded for his behavior and the witness be excused with the court's deepest apologies.
Overruled.
Your Honor!
The objection is noted.
Colonel? Is this funny, sir?
No, it is not. It is tragic.
Do you have an answer for me?
Absolutely. My answer is I don't have the first damn clue. Maybe he was an early riser and he liked to pack in the morning. And maybe he didn't have any friends. I'm an educated man, but I'm afraid I cannot speak intelligently as to the travel habits of William Santiago. What I can say is he was set to leave the base at 0600. Now, are these the questions I was called here to answer? Phone calls and footlockers? Please tell me you have something more, Lieutenant. 2 Marines are on trial for their lives. Please tell me their lawyer has not pinned their hopes to a phone bill. Do you have any more questions for me, Counselor?
Lieutenant Cappy? Lieutenant, do you have anything more for this witness?
Thank you, Danny. I love Washington.
Excuse me, I didn't dismiss you.
I beg your pardon.
I'm not through with my examination. I didn't dismiss you. Sit down.
Colonel!
What's that?
I want the man to address me as Colonel, sir. I believe I've earned it.
Defense counsel will address the witness as colonel or sir.
What the hell kind of outfit you're running here?
And the witness will address this court as judge or your honor. I'm quite certain that I've earned it. Take your seat. Colonel.
What are we going to discuss now? My favorite color?
Colonel, the 6 a.m. flight. This was the first one off the base?
Yes.
There wasn't a flight that left 7 hours earlier and landed in Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m.?
Lieutenant Cappy, haven't we covered this?
Your Honor, in just a moment, defense will be calling Airman Cecil O'Malley and Airman Anthony Perez. Airman O'Malley and Perez were working the ground crew the morning of the 7th.
Your Honor, these men weren't on the list.
Rebuttal witnesses, Your Honor, called specifically to refute testimony offered under direct examination.
I'll allow the witnesses.
Colonel, a moment ago you said...
Check the tower logs, for Christ's sake.
We'll get to the airman in just a moment. A moment ago, you said that you told Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago.
That's right.
And, Kendrick was clear on what you wanted?
Crystal.
Any chance Kendrick ignored the order?
Ignored the order?
Any chance he forgot about it?
No.
Any chance he left your office and said, the old man is wrong?
No.
When Kendrick had his meeting with the men and told them not to touch Santiago, any chance they ignored him?
Have you ever served in an infantry unit, son?
No, sir.
Never served in the forward area?
No, sir.
Ever put your life into another man's hands? Ask him to put his life in yours.
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Colonel, I just have one final question before I call Airman O'Malley. If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, then why was it necessary for him to be transferred?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
If you gave an order for Private Santiago not to be touched, then why was it necessary?
Private Santiago is being transferred because he is a substandard Marine.
That's not what you said. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
Yes, that's
You
correct.
said he was in danger. I said grave danger. You said
I
is there any
recall
other
what I
time?
said.
I can have the court reporter repeat back what you said.
I know what I said. I don't need it read back to me like a
Then
damn
why did you
child.
order? Colonel?
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters into their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger, shouldn't he have, Colonel? It's a paradox, isn't it? Paradox is a word that...
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for
I'd
a
like to answer
recess.
the question, Judge.
That makes two of us.
If you told Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago, then why did he have to be transferred? Colonel? Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he?
Objection!
You're putting words in the witness.
And what did
Your
I
Honor,
do?
you got these guys doing contempt.
Your Honor,
this is your final warning.
In contempt.
For a fourth time. Why did you
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to
You
it.
want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Because the truth is, we live in a world that has walls. And those walls need to be guarded by men with guns. Who's going to do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I've got a greater responsibility than you could possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines? You have that luxury. The luxury of the blind, the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. And you can't handle it, because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as a backbone to a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would just as soon you say thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand at post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to.
You ordered the code red.
I did the job you sent me to
You
do.
ordered the code
You're
red.
damn right I did.
Please the court. I suggest the members move to an immediate Article 39A session. The witness has rights. Jack?
I concur.
Sergeant at Arms will take the members to the jury room and wait
I
further
have nothing
instruction.
to do with Article 39A. What's going on? I did my job. I'd do it again. I'm getting on a plane and I'm going back to my base.
Guard the prisoner.
What?
Anthony, guard the prisoner.
I ordered a code red and suddenly everybody's going to beat us like a damn lady auxiliary.
Colonel Jessup, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can
I'm being charged with a crime.
Any general
That's what this is?
You have the right
This is
to
funny.
an attorney.
This is funny, you know that?
questioning. You can have one appointed.
I'm going to tear
Colonel Jessup, do you understand these rights as I've read them to you?
You damn people have no idea how to defend a nation. All you did was weaken a country today. That is all you did. Give yourself a pat on the back. You put people in danger. Sweet dreams, son.
Don't call me son. I'm a lawyer and an officer in the United States Navy. And you're under arrest, you son of a bitch. The witness is excused.